Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to session 11 of Elevate Your Wellbeing Contagious Care. And today we're going to be looking at goal setting, some achievement hacks, how to make it easier to achieve our goals in the first place. So please just give a wave or a thumbs up or a love heart to let me know you're here. And welcome to you all today. Welcome, Nicolene. And as you come through, please give us a wave so we can connect. So, hi, Terry. Great to see you. Lovely to have you here. So, goals have been something, over the centuries. It's nothing new. But what is new is how we can change our brain to make it a success story for us in the goals that we do set. It's no good setting goals and not doing anything with them. Of course, that's like New Year's resolutions, isn't it? You know, how many of us have, just click in the comments whether you tend to be a New Year's resolution person or not. And whether you've found that to be successful. I'd be really curious to know what has worked for you. So state what has worked for you now, because that's going to help the group also. As I was thinking about this topic, my husband John and I were just musing last night over a big goal that I had set for myself, actually when I was 10 years old. And it was being an exchange student in the States. Now, in those days when I was 10, we're talking about 50 years ago, the States was this amazing, big, as it is a big country, but it was just like, all you heard of was Disneyland and just, I had a child's perspective of what the States was really like. Hello, Alison from the States. We're just talking about goal setting and probably my first goal that I'd ever set in life, which was at the age of 10. And you'll remember it well. Alison's my sister. And welcome, Kristen, to this. But Alison, you'll remember so well, now my sister living in the States, that I had a goal when I was 10. And some of this part of the story will probably be new to you, but I had this goal that I really wanted to go when I'd finished my schooling, to go and be an exchange student in the States. And what was interesting is that it was somebody who planted this goal in me, where unwittingly she had come back from being an exchange student herself, and she just sat under the tree with me in our backyard when we used to live in Tasmania, and she shared with such excitement about what her experience was. And I thought right in that moment, I want to do that. And so it kind of just got put to the back of my brain, as things do when you're 10. But what was really interesting is as I became 15, as I was about 15, I really started thinking about that goal that I'd set when I was 10. And so as I was approaching year 11 and 12, I started, I talked about it with my parents, and they said, you'd need to get the money to go on your trip all yourself, and they were very fair parents, what was done for one child was done for another, and what wasn't done for one child wasn't done for the others. So, it made sense. And so I got a job early, and what I did is two really weird jobs when I look back, because they both involved men. For a 17-year-old at this stage, I worked in men's underwear at David Jones in the Elizabeth Street department, if you're ever going there and want to laugh. And I actually, to be in men's underwear was not a great place, but I couldn't argue, I've got the job. But I had this cheeky friend from the school down the road who would always come in and say, Heather, will you fit me? Get the measuring tape out, and will you fit me? And I wasn't very polite to him. I said, you need to go to the children's underwear to be fitted. And then I got into trouble from my boss because I wasn't polite to a customer, and I had to explain he's not really a customer. He's a pseudo customer, just trying to be cheeky. So I went to it was a sacrifice in order to reach my goal, a short-term sacrifice in order to reach my long-term goal, to get enough money for that airfare to get to be an exchange student. Hi, Margaret, and hi, Marie and Carol. Lovely to have you here. So with goal setting, it does take sacrifice, as I said, and it takes a lot of other things that we're going to look at today. And so when you think about this, I'm going to walk you through how actually, oh my goodness, my brother and sister are here today. Hello, David. Welcome. The three of us together, yes. So with goal setting, we really need to have a plan and visualize it. For me to be that exchange student, to think about that when I was 10, I visualized this neighbor who'd come in and sat with me and shared the whole experience with me. And I kept visualizing that over a few years to really then take some action steps to actually think, oh, I've got to finance this, so how do I go about that? And I not only had the job at DJ's Men's Underwear, I was in a nursing home, basically showering old men and women, and they wanted a stronger, there were, obviously people in nursing staff, I just got landed with that job of showering people, and it was quite a confronting experience. Again, something that I really grew from, but it was something in the short term that I had to make an action step towards to get the finances, to get to the bigger picture. So, love those earrings. Thank you, Alison. They're a gift from my sister. Ah, dear. I was hoping you'd be on today to see these. So, with goals, let's look at it. Let's break it down. I want you to think right now of an area of your life that you want to set a goal. Now, it might be in the area of well-being and fitness and health. It might be in your relationships. It might be with your immediate family, your partner and your children. It might be with your extended family and friends. Or it could be with your career. Or it could be a sector of life like recreation and community. What would you like to do more in the community, to serve the community? It could be a goal of a spirituality. It could be recreation. So think about how you would like to set, what topic, what area you would like to set a goal in. Now, it could be mindset and developing new skills. We're going to be looking at that particularly for the next 2 weeks, looking at how we can develop a growth mindset, how we can change our brain to put the habits and patterns of life that we want to put into action now, and to change our old patterns that aren't serving us or the people that we love. So let's start with this. Think of those sectors and a sector of life that you want to choose. Can you just put that in the comments section now, because it helps you actually be accountable. One sector of life, of different topics that I've chosen. I haven't chosen, it could be finance, it could be also health, anything that you want to really focus on right now. Then, once you've stated what that is, remember this important quote. It's, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. You'll hit nothing every time. Don't know who said that, but I do know who said this one. It was Lewis Carroll. He said, if you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you get there. And it's really important to be specific. Let's look at, I call them START goals. Many of you would have heard of SMART goals. I prefer to do this in an acronym of START, because I think there's 2 T's that really need to be put in place. And 1 T is timing, okay? But the second T is 3 actions. And we'll look at that. Think of the acronym now. So specificity, it involves numbers. S for start, specificity. you need to be able to imagine it, and so it can't be a general thing like I want to create inner peace and happiness. That's an outcome of a goal. What you need to be doing is getting through checkpoint 1 and being very specific. If there's uncertainty, we've made the goal and we're not going to arrive at it. Okay, it's too general. So specificity is important. The best goal is a behavioral one. Okay, make it behavioral. For example, for me with book writing, I have to set aside time every Tuesday, say 3 hours every Tuesday, I will do some writing. Okay, that's my behavioral goal, because a book's not going to just land down from the sky. So be specific. And remember, there's only 2 things you need to do in order to get a goal being achieved. 2 very specific things. And that's this: you need to start it, and you need to continue. So the very fact that, Marie, you've written in work-related attitude, you want to develop a good work-related attitude, that is a start, okay? You've been specific, but now you've got to be more specific with a behavioral. How are you going to? What's the habits, patterns, or behaviors in your life you're going to know you have actually achieved it, all right? And then the next thing, the T in start, is timing. Be specific. By January 2022, I am going to have my book finished. No one hold me accountable to that. I've just realized I've got some accountability here online with this group. Okay, so be specific with the timing. And then achievability. Make it achievable for yourself. Not too hard, because then, reaching for the stars, there's a saying, reaching for the stars sucks. Because if you reach that high, you're going to get overwhelmed. It's too big a goal. And then you're going to procrastinate. Okay? So make it achievable. Not too low so that that's easy and you don't do anything more with it, but not too high for you to put in the too hard basket and just keep it there forever. So hello, Mindy, and hello, Rachel. Great to have you here as well. So we're writing down the area, a specific goal that we want to achieve. So put it in your comments section as you come in. And the next thing, the R in start. So we've got S for specificity, T for timing, A for achievability, R for reasons. And I love this one. Write out 100 reasons for why this goal is important and meaningful to you. I love the question that I ask my clients, why is that important to you? And they really have to think. When they're setting some goals, wanting to get some results in life, and why is that important to you? And I might ask it 6 times, because they might get more specific, or they always get more specific when I say, and why is that more important to you? Because da 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 da. Ah, that's interesting. And why is that important to you? Okay, so you can never go wrong in writing 100 reasons for why you really, really, really want this, or why you really, really, really want to do this. I know I had to start writing some reasons for a goal that I decided I want to achieve with John's support, with his incredible support. It was to be to win a Churchill Fellowship, a Winston Churchill Fellowship, which was a scholarship to go to whatever countries you wanted to research the gurus in your field of work, and come back to Australia and disseminate that information to the people in your profession, so that they can learn from what you've learned from the gurus internationally. And I had this opportunity. I was very fortunate to win this scholarship. But to get there, it was incredibly hard, because they only chose 100 each year in Australia, and to go over to whichever countries were chosen from your scholarship application. And it involved a lot of hard work. But I was just brainstorming, just sharing this suggestion that a student of mine made to me, who'd also been a Churchill Fellowship recipient in a totally different area. She was a librarian. Anyway, she said, at the end of a course that I had been running for a year, she said, I've been watching you and I think you should apply for a Churchill Fellowship. And I'd vaguely heard of what that was, but I just mused, I joked with John as I was getting into bed that night and said, so-and-so suggested this. And he looked at me and he said, why are you laughing about it? Why don't you take that seriously? And I looked back at him and thought, I said, are you serious? And he said, well, why don't you just apply and see what happens? I said, well, we've got 3 young children. They were like 12, 10 and 7 then. 12, 10 and 7. I couldn't possibly go, I said. And he said, we'll worry about that if you win it. And so long story short, I had the support of my husband. I wrote down these reasons for why I wanted it, because the sacrifice was leaving the children for 2 months. And that was and just going overseas for 2 months on my own, although it would have been a wonderful thing to win, I just thought, wow, that's scary. And so I started writing down reasons, and it was a life changer for me to actually be really inspired with my application and the interviews then, when I had 100 reasons for why I wanted to go. And the number one was because my husband was so supportive in wanting me to win this scholarship. So, 100 reasons is that R in the start is such a beautiful revelation, and it inspires you to get to that goal. And the last one is so important as well. Give 3 action steps immediately, because otherwise it'll just be an idea that just sits on the shelf, doesn't go anywhere. So 3 actions, and they must be little actions that you need to take to get the goal started. Okay? So for me, it was writing an application, having some time over coffee with the person, going back to her and asking, the one who suggested me applying for this scholarship, going back to her and asking, what does it involve? Researching. They were little action steps that got me started. And when we set the goal, it's actually not for us, it's for our brain. It is so important that we kick in to our brain what we want to achieve. And hi, Kathy. Just looking at some of your comments here. Margaret, it's getting back to finishing cross stitch. Fantastic. Just writing down your goals. Carol, because it affects every aspect of my life. That's why, one of the reasons. And Siri, welcome to you. I think you're new. Welcome, welcome. So the 3 actions are so important, that we actually tell our brain what we want to achieve. Because we're going to be looking at this next week with mindset, but it's interesting, our brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. Okay? So that's why imagining is really important at this stage. Imagine your action steps. Imagine the big goal that you do want to achieve. So visualization is really, really important here. So am I getting the result I've set with my little action steps? If I'm not, then just assess what you're doing and change it. If we are getting results, then you can go to the next little action step. So checkpoint 2 is we have to imagine what we want to be in order to get there, because the goal that is well set will navigate you through these points, these checkpoints effectively. So by now, I'm hoping that you will have you've got the start part, the acronym going. Good, thanks Marie. Great acronym it is, isn't it? Because it's practical. It gets us there. So I want you to state now your goal in your head, I am or I have, and state your goal or intention using a really brief description that contains the single event that lets you know for certain that you have achieved this goal. So I imagine all of us through COVID right now might be imagining a wonderful holiday down the track in 2021 because of the holidays that have all been disbanded from our lives this year. So you might be thinking, if the goal, for example, was to go to Fiji, your statement might be, I'm lying in this beautiful hammock beside a coral sea with my family playing around me. Okay? Visualize it. Okay? Remember the timing state, the exact date that you wish the outcome to occur. The reasons for that goal, your holiday, crystallize exactly why that goal is important to you. You need that rest. You've changed your schedule now, and you deserve that reward next year. And write the 3 action steps. State exactly what your first 3 steps were that began that snowballing effect of creating this goal in your life. And you can just do 3 steps to start with, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed. Okay? Now, I am going to guide you now through an imagination exercise. And my mentor, Ben Harvey, this is credit to him. He designed this, and he's called it the Imaginaction, because you are imagining action to get to your goal. And he gave me this reflection, Ben Harvey, when he talked about being so clear with our reasons of us wanting, why we want to achieve this essential goal. And he talked about, have we ever become hooked on our vision? Do we really get hooked? And he described how heroin addicts, they need $2,000 to shoot up. You know, if they're homeless, they can still somehow get $2,000. They either steal it or they will find a way. They will find a way, go to a huge effort to get the amount of money that they need in order to shoot up. They're hooked. That's how they achieve their goal, because they're hooked. So how do we, I know that's a destructive goal, but it's a simple explanation of how we need to be hooked on our achievement of our goal. Because it's never a question of resources. It's a question of resourcefulness. How resourceful are we going to be in achieving that goal? You see, sadly, people who are addicted to heroin, they believe that their life depends on the achievement of getting that heroin to shoot up. So how important to you is the achievement of your goal? Are you going to be hooked on it? Now let's do this imagination thing. I want you to close your eyes. Imagine an action. It's called an imagine action exercise. So close your eyes. It's going to take 5 minutes. Take a few deep breaths. A nice, relaxing, deep breath. And as you exhale, close your eyes if you haven't already. I want you to imagine you're standing in front of a magnificent golden door that has bright light streaming in from around the edges. Now, if you go ahead, and I want you to reach your hand out and place it on the door handle. Feel the energy of inspiration move up through your hand, along your arm and into your heart. It's as though the door is beckoning you to open it. So go ahead now and open the door. Step through it and into your desired result, so you are looking through your own eyes, seeing the things around you, hearing what you are hearing, and feeling what you are feeling. Go ahead now and adjust everything you need to adjust to get to the highest level of reality possible. Convince every single cell in your body that right now you're in fact standing inside the outcome, having achieved this thing in your life that you have decided upon. So right now, your goal has actually happened. I want you to visually just check if changing it from color to black and white or vice versa makes it more real for you. Check if making it a movie or a still image makes it more real for you. Now with the sounds, should it be louder, the sounds that you're hearing, or softer? And with the feeling of it, do you need to change the intensity of the feeling to make it more realistic for you? Okay, so notice how real it now feels for you having achieved this goal in this moment. It's now time to go ahead and step outside of this image so that you can see yourself inside the goal. I want you to reach inside your pocket and pull out a Polaroid camera that just happens to be there. Go ahead and take a picture of yourself so that the outcome, having created your result exactly the way you said you would look, you've got a picture of that. Take that picture now. And like a Polaroid camera does, grab that photo and place it inside your pocket and get ready to take the relevant action steps that will lead you to your desired result. Go ahead and imagine yourself taking each and every one of the actions required to achieve this outcome. Notice how effortlessly these actions occur and how all the resources that you need are just lining up for you. Notice how every connection you need in life is being drawn to you like iron filings to a magnet. In a moment, we're going to take a deep breath and launch up into your stream of time. Launch up above it. So go ahead now, take a deep breath. That's right. And launch up into the air. Float all the way up above your stream of time and out into the future until you find yourself directly above where you said this goal would occur. It's now time to energize this picture with 3 breaths. Exhale out. 3 deep breaths in and Now go ahead and drop that picture down right now. Click. Notice how that picture lands exactly where you said it would. Like your word is law in the universe. Turn back now and look towards and notice anything rapidly shifting, everything changing and rearranging to ensure that this result occurs exactly as you said it would. All of the people, the resources, the energy that you need are effortlessly flowing towards you. Now turn and look off towards the future and observe millions and millions of images of your success dropping in one after another, and observe your stream of time getting bigger and brighter. Visualize your stream of time. Now I want you to leave all that out there, knowing it is yours, and float all the way back now towards and back down into the present. Take your time, wriggle your fingers and your toes, and put a nice big smile on your face and open your eyes. Welcome back. Now, if you've got pen and paper right now or straight after this session, I want you to write down 3 descriptive words to describe the future you imagined. Remember, because you got into it in the present. Write down 3 descriptive words that makes you feel good having achieved that goal. 3 descriptive words to describe the future you imagined. I sense that you are really good at visualizing this. It is so important. When I had the great opportunity of being able to write the chapter in the book Elevate Your Wellbeing, which is what this series is obviously named after, I visioned myself with exactly that same exercise. And it's credit to Ben Harvey from Authentic Education if you want to look that up. But I visioned myself in that exercise signing books at the book launch. And that was a way ahead, but it was an incredibly successful visualization because the 2 book launches I had were just such a wonderful experience. I can remember thinking in the moment in my heart, my gosh, this is almost just how I imagined it. And it was that imagining that got my brain to actually work towards that goal. And I want to encourage you with one more thing before we finish. And it's this: nothing is terribly difficult if you break it down into small steps. That quote is from Henry Ford, who started Ford Motors. So if it's public speaking that you're scared of, you've got to give a presentation, just break it down into small steps. Instead of thinking, I'm speaking in front of 100 people to start with. Sure, visualize that and you'll visualize the success and wonderful feelings you've had by imparting your information to 100 people. But first of all, just start with a small action step of speaking in front of the camera like this, or not like a live video. Just pretend speak in front of the camera, speak in front of the mirror to one person, and you yourself are a person, so speak to yourself. That's a first action step. Or getting up in the morning. First action step, take a deep breath, have that glass of water by your bed, help yourself wake up, do an action step to help you get you out of the bed. So we'll be looking at that more closely in the next couple of weeks as well, how to actually immediately get our action steps into place. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Remember that when you choose little action steps, you will get a long way in the end. And you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it started. Okay, start and continue, as Essenes said. Don't wait until it gets perfect. Just start it now. So I just want to let you know, people have been messaging me, letting me know because I had that decision to make about whether we do it on these live videos on the weekends. And I've decided, because of COVID-19, the restrictions lifting just a little bit now, I want to give that time for you with your families, and particularly this Mother's Day. These flowers are for our daughter. These chrysanthemums, beautiful. So they're in cellar. I hope you're not watching this on a replay, Christine, before Sunday. But happy Mother's Day to everyone who is a mum. And I just want to give you that time where you're just totally not having to think about anything else but celebrating relationships this weekend. So we won't be doing Saturdays from now on. Want you to dedicate that time to your families, but every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. where just come on in to the live or the replays and join with me on elevating our well-being and making our care contagious. Contagious to the people we love, contagious to ourselves, and contagious to our communities. So until next time, be brave, be life-giving, and let your light shine.